Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. Now, you might have noticed that for the last 5 or 6 weeks, we've essentially had one big subject to talk about, which is demonetization, because frankly, that's all that anybody in the country is talking about. But you may have also noticed that instead of getting into the usual political mudslinging, we've actually tried to, on this particular show, take a look at various aspects of the problem, call the top experts of the field in, and try and get them to help us understand, interpret, and look at the path ahead. And that is what we're going to try and do once again right now. Yes, there are just a few days to go before that deadline ends and everyone finishes depositing their cash. But looking forward, the one big change that we are now hearing about, you don't hear the government talking too much now about black money or counterfeit or even national security, as much as they are saying, look, digital India is coming, digital payments are the future, and that's the big turning point. Once everyone starts using digital payments, tax numbers will go up, people will be filing their income taxes, it'll be a lovely new world out there. So, is that really going to happen? Are there lots of slips between the cup and the lip? And are we overhyping this entire digital India business in any case, especially in 2017, when a large number of people don't have access to it? That's the question we're going to try and take a close look at. And joining us, another special panel of experts today who really have all the answers. P.N. Vijay is joining us, representing the BJP, but also a financial analyst, also has been understanding a lot about demonetization and looks ahead at what's going to happen with digital payments in particular. Salman Soz representing the Congress party, but also taking a look at some of the other broader issues that we have out here. Prashant Kumar Roy, one of the top digital gurus that I know of in the country, so it's always great to have you with us. He's the Vice President and the head of Internet, Mobile and E-Commerce Council at NASSCOM and will be able to give us a real expert view on this. Saket Modi, and I'm trying to figure out how quite to introduce you. So you want to introduce yourself? Should I call you? You've tried your hand at various things from ethical hacking to advising people. You are, of course, co-founder and CEO of Lucilius Tech. Does that sum it up, or do you want to add something else to it?
I hack for a living, so you can call me a hacker. That defines what I do.
You hack for a living. Yes. Have you got into a digital payment gateway yet?
Well, we secure the UPI in most of the banks that you transact with, so you should hope.
So you're the guardian right now. You're the hacker who is manning the gates.
One of the guardians.
And we will.
Yes.
You are also the person I'm going to come back and haunt if I do start using digital payments and all my money gets stolen. I'm coming and finding you. So Mohan Gurusamy, Chairman, Center for Policy Alternatives, have been with us and taking a look at some aspects of this. Sunil Abraham joining us from Bangalore, Executive Director for the Center for the Internet and Society. And society seems to be, if the government has its way going entirely onto the internet, so maybe you want to compress those two terms at some point, Sunil. And finally, we're going to be joined by Deepak Abbott, who's the Senior Vice President at Paytm, a company that right now is literally thinks that Christmas has come early, although it has been facing its own challenges naturally in trying to keep pace with everything that's happening. There are other mobile companies, but Paytm's taken an early lead in this. Well, thank you all so much for being with us. Now, before I come to digital, please do bear with me while I spend a few minutes just trying to take a stock of where we are right now in this entire exercise. Now, let's remember, in a couple of days, the official deadline for people going and depositing old notes in banks is going to come to an end. Doesn't mean they can't keep on going and depositing the money in the Reserve Bank of India. They can do that, and by the way, they may continue to do that for reasons that I'm about to outline. What has this all been for? It's been a month and a half. What's it been for? Government said, to start off, counterfeit currencies, all right. Security, terrorists are coming in with Indian currency, and that we are hearing is one of the reasons they did it so fast. Okay. Black money is going to be eradicated. Now, let's pause the button and look at these 3 reasons. And then after that, we'll come to 2 new reasons, which subsequently have been spoken about a lot. Number 1, the tax base is going to go up because it's much easier now to catch anyone who's dodgy. And so from 2-3% of people paying their taxes, it's going to become 5%, 10%, 20%, and that's really where revolution will come. That part we will examine a little later. And the 5th part, what we've started off by saying, it's going to be a digital world. Digital payments are here to stay, once again, easy to track. P.N. Vijay, before I say anything more, does that pretty much sum up the government's rationale for all this?
I think you made a fair summation.
What do you think of the reasons in all?
The Prime Minister came up with, first he came up with three reasons for doing this. And clearly the narrative had changed. Lots of things have been changed in these last 45 days or so. And I suspect
You're not talking about the rules, have you? Rules? Have the rules changed at all? The Reserve Bank of India once it makes up its mind, it does it, it never changes.
Well, that's why they call it the Reverse Bank of India now. So
I was waiting for someone to say that. I'm sure that was coming from somewhere or the other. Yeah. So yes, we have seen a certain number of rule changes. What is it? 70 in the last thing. But I guess the government will say it's being proactive. As something comes up, they change.
I'm sorry. I mean, if we have so many rule changes within 45 days, that means they did not think it through. Let's just be clear about that.
Okay. Now let's start off by assessing what the benefits of all of this have been, because we all pretty much know what the pain has been. Now let's try and look at the benefits again. So let's just park counterfeit currency. It's not that high a number, but let's assume that's happened. 400 crores or 500 crores or whatever. And let's assume the national security part has happened. Now let's look at black money. And I just want to take you through some numbers, because in the next week to 10 days, I would like you all to stay glued to your TV screens and to the newspapers to try and assess a couple of very important numbers that are going to come out. First of all, how much old of that cash reserve, how many of those old notes are actually going to get deposited? A crucial number. Here's why. There were 15.4 lakh crores in old notes that existed. These were banned on the 8th of November. Now let's assuming all of them come back, and I've been saying this during this week. If all of them come back, either there was no black money to start with, in which case all of us are going to say what was this entire exercise about. But we don't believe that. I'm sure there was black money. Possibility number two, they were able to launder the black money. And if it is possibility number two that eventually comes to pass, the money all comes back in. And why does the money come back in? Because the fat cats and the rich people and all the crooks in the country were able to launder their money. There are going to be a lot of very angry people. They're saying this should not have happened. So that's why possibility two is a cause of some concern for the government, which is why the government is now pushing possibility three. All the money has come back. It's come back because people are about to declare their black money under the amnesty scheme. This we will not know the answer to till March. March, right, is when the amnesty scheme actually comes to an end. The numbers for this will start coming out in April.
Yeah.
So if a lot of the money comes back in, then we will only be able to judge whether this entire demonetization has been a success or a failure from the point of view of getting black money out, once we know whether people were able to launder their black money, in which case it was a failure, or whether they have declared it and the government has made a ton of money in tax and penalty, in which case you could argue it was a success. Is that a fair summary?
You're absolutely right. The summary is right. The money could be 0 to whatever, 15.5 lakhs. The thing
Your friend Bibek Debroy said 2 lakh crores might be coming back.
It's a moving target, as you said. It's a moving target. People have still time to go to the banks and then to the RBI. You see, if you agree, and all of us would agree, that black money is something which has not been taxed and which is not in the system. That's black money. If through this whole exercise, the entire money or a very substantial portion has come into the system. System, I mean into a bank account which is KYC'd and which has got a PAN number to it, and it is up to the particular bank client to either say it is an income of mine, pay 50% tax, or just conceal it, don't say anything. The tax man gets at you, just takes that chance, and he pays 81% tax plus prosecution.
If the guy is caught,
okay.
If they are
now,
caught,
let's just,
you know and I know
yeah.
that the stories that we have been hearing for the last 10 to 20 days really make your toenails curl. The ways and the imaginative methods by which people are laundering
That's another
their money.
argument. That's a big fight altogether. We are just looking at the macro numbers and trying to draw some macro conclusions in a professional way, right? So what we are saying is this amount of untaxed money, black money, has come into the system, has become transparent and is liable for tax, right? And we have a trace, we have a track on every paisa of that. And that, I think, is a big achievement.
Okay. We don't know what the number is going to be, right? So we are hearing estimates that maybe 2 lakh crores will be extinguished, will not be redeposited. Although I'm not 100% sure why that would happen, because logically, if you, instead of tearing up notes, it makes sense to deposit the money and say 50% of it goes to the government, at least you get 50%. So the government will make some money in this through that amnesty scheme. It could be 50,000 crores, 1 lakh crore, 2 lakh crores. We don't know how much it's going to make. Would you say that justifies the exercise? We'll come to the other benefits.
Absolutely not. You see, the problem with our government is the following. They'll always tell you what the benefits are. They'll never talk about the costs. In anything, you should always look at the benefits and the costs. If, for example, I take your number, 2 lakh crores, what is the cost of these 45 days, plus not just these 45 days? A real cost is going to be come with a lag. It's going to come later.
But do you accept the basic argument?
Let me just, by the way, let me just put it on record. I fundamentally disagree with demonetization as a policy. Please, let me finish. I'm saying
your former Prime Minister said that he thinks the idea is good, but the execution
let me tell you what he's suggesting. The idea is to go after black money. The idea is to try and reduce corruption and all these kinds of things. But the way you do it, the ideas that you put forward, that has to be looked at, benefits and costs. Now, if you take 2 lakh crore rupees, and then see what the cost is to the economy, I'll just give you one number from today's newspaper. Companies that are FMCG companies, fast-moving consumer goods companies, soap, shampoo, toothbrushes, those kinds of things, their valuation in the market has gone down by 1.2 lakh crores.
That's the stock market.
Batting for Colgate and Hindustan Lever.
Please, let me finish. What does that mean? What are people? It may be funny, but this is where the shoe pinches you. What people are seeing is in the valuation is what is the business going to be like in the future? What are people doing with the money? They're not able to spend. They're not able to earn. When people are not able to earn, they're not able to spend. The Prime Minister yesterday said or tweeted that I urge the young people to go cashless, get digital wallets, etc. I said, Prime Minister, you promised 2 crore jobs a year. You give them jobs, they'll get money, they'll deposit it in your bank wallets, e-wallets, and other things.
So he's saying basically the damage to the economy.
The damage to the economy.
Enlarging the debate to
the damage to the
proportions.
Mr. Vijay, the damage to the economy is huge. Mark my words, the damage is coming.
Damage to the economy, fine. Based on what we are seeing right now, the possible benefits that are coming directly on an attack on black money, has it been justified? Or are you also disappointed, as many people are, by the staggering different number of ways and scale to which people have been able to launder their black money?
First of all, Vikram, this is not demonetization. Yes. What you have is a simple currency exchange. You're junking in old 500 rupee and 1000 rupee notes and saying getting new notes. Demonetization is when you change the currency, you change the value of the currency. The rupee is still the basic.
Can I dispute that if you mind for a minute? I'll tell you why I'm disputing what you're saying. It is demonetization for one reason.
Okay.
You have taken 15.4 lakh crores out of the system, and because for some bizarre reason which nobody till today has been able to explain to me, the government didn't print notes in advance. Precisely. 1.5 months later, they've only been able to re-inject 6 lakh crores.
That's an act of stupidity.
15.5 lakhs gone. 6 lakhs back in.
That's an act of stupidity, Vikram, not demonetization. Demonetization, currency exchanges have taken place before.
Correct.
In 2008, we had currency exchange. New 500 rupee notes came. The old ones went out. We've had 100 rupee notes changing. All kinds of things have happened before. Okay, certain types of currency, values have been removed. All this has happened before. It meant orderly transition. What you could have had is another orderly transition. But the government said it is going after black money, money on which taxes were not paid. Now, out of the total black money, only 4% was being held in cash. 46% is held in property and buildings, 22% in gold, and 26% kept abroad. You have not done anything on this.
Okay.
You've gone on cash. You've gone on cash, and out of the cash, a lot of black money has gone back into the system, and it will come out because when you have to file your returns at the end of the year, you will have to accept that this is. So there is some benefit. But what is the cost? The cost, you asked me. There are 415 million people who are in the unorganized sector in this country, out of which 215 million people are daily wage labor. What you've done is shut down daily wage labor almost 50%. The construction business, which employs 44 million, is now almost dormant. The small retailer is almost dormant. That is the vegetable and fruit vendor is almost finished. The farm labor has been left out, the construction labor. So you knocked out 100 million people from their daily employment. No money. The average wage in this country for a worker, unorganized sector, is 272 rupees. So that is enough money to cover a family for a day. If you don't have that money, you're starving. And that's what this government has done.
Your overall take, though, on how demonetization has panned out?
You know, I think it was a very bold gamble, and without now enough has been discussed on the merits and demerits, and I'm not going there. I believe that bold gamble did tackle with aim for both the things and maybe other things, maybe the UP elections and all of that. But black money, now it looks like that may or may not work out, maybe it won't work out. But digital, now that digital is not as much of an afterthought as people are thinking, because across the year there have been a number of initiatives around digital. Not least of which 3 months ago a very empowered committee was set up to actually overhaul the digital payments structure, and that committee was actually under a lot of pressure to give its report, give a very comprehensive report well in time. Okay, so it does look like there was some planning on the digital side of it, and
So
now
it's not something which is added, it is an integral
So
part of it.
It's plan A, 1B maybe.
Okay.
No, you know,
Just on the cost versus benefit.
I'd like to point out certain facts, that the fact that the mass of Indian humanity is in shatters, and that fabulous Holocaust atmosphere that people are trying to create. If there was, Aman, just finish me. If that was so, how do you explain across the board in municipalities the BJP winning huge wins, even in areas where Congress is traditionally strong?
You are not, till now, it could change. And I'm saying, and one of the things that you need to be careful of is, if it comes out that all the big fish got away, maybe that will change. The atmosphere will change to suddenly become anger.
We have conducted more
for
raids
the moment,
in the last 1 month than in the last 3 years.
Yeah, but Inspector, you should know that raids
you got to
not
do
change.
something about it.
Yeah,
You're
I
saying
get it,
catch the
but
black
raids-
bat.
but raids-
How do you catch a guy?
Fine.
We
but I'm
raided the
saying,
chief
as at
secretary of a
least
state.
Right now, A, they are winning elections, and B, anecdotally, it's not that you're coming across crowds of people protesting on the streets, saying Modi, hi, hi. It's not happening right now.
Okay, so I want.
And you've been trying to whip it up, but it's not been happening.
I want everybody to hear me carefully. Everybody watching at home. I'll talk about the Maharashtra municipal elections because the Prime Minister tweeted about it. Let me give you facts. In 2014 assembly election in Maharashtra, BJP fighting on its own without Shiv Sena's help got 42% of the seats. It got 56% of the urban seats. Okay? In this municipal election, fighting with the Shiv Sena, they got 24% of the seats, and Congress got 20% of the seats fighting without NCP. Now, if, by the way, anybody disputes that, I'm willing to challenge them. That means, no.
BJP has been winning elections.
But since demonetization has happened, people, remember Amit Shah, the president of BJP, tweeted that demonetization, this is really, people love it, right? You must have heard it. But if that is the case, why is it that after 3 phases in Maharashtra, the data shows that BJP has come down in the urban areas and semi-urban areas from 56% seats to 24% fighting with Shiv Sena, and Congress by itself.
Let's just do some very unscientific snap polling. Okay, all of you have lost. Hang on. With the rider that this is a random sample and it's an urban audience and the rest of it, I'm just saying, okay, 50 days. Prime Minister Modi said, give me 50 days. 50 days have passed. Today, how many of you think that demonetization was good? Raise your hands, those who think it was good. Raise it higher so we can count. It's still a significant number of people who feel that way. Now, can I ask you a question? The question that I asked. Why do you feel that demonetization was good?
Sir, truly speaking, there's a huge amount of black money in India, and if someone grabs me out and asks me that give him or her a black money, so I can't say him that okay, just wait for it, I'm providing you a check. So it's demonetized. We won't be left with any paper notes.
You already had some tax guys and others coming saying give us bribes, and we were seeing it on Twitter that they
but
Paytm instead.
Further policies can be implied to stop that.
You said you support this, right? And he also said that it's because there's a crackdown on black money. Supposing it was to come out that a lot of the people who had black money were able to do something with it. They were able to do setting, they were able to do jugaad, they were able to get away. Would you still support it?
I don't support jugads at all, but I truly believe that they cannot be like hiding those things. It will be revealed by the time